my fellow commentators here on YouTube. How are you doing? Good, good. Now, have you ever had the thing where you come up with a topic, you speak about it, you don't like it, you do another topic, you speak about it, you don't like it, and then you finally change the topic completely and, you know, do this? Yeah, well, I've just done it 3 times. Basically, I was going to speak about racism and then PC gamers are hypocrites and all this other stuff, and now I've decided to do this video on why the Killzone 4 demo, I was going to say 3 then, the Killzone 4 demo was running at 30 FPS rather than anything else. And let me go deep into it. I will provide a link in the description to an article, not an article. I'll provide you to a link to a forum where a developer on Killzone explained that Killzone 4 was running on 1.5 gig of RAM on the PS4 when it has a total of 8. And if you didn't know, GDDR5 is about 170 gigabytes a second transfer speed, whereas the normal in PC and possibly the 720 DDR3 transfers at 17 gig a second. Yeah, big difference. And I said that quickly so I wouldn't bore you with numbers and such. Now, if it's running on 1.5 gigabytes of its GDDR5 pool, it makes you think, well, why wouldn't they have used most of it? Why wouldn't they used all of it? Why have they compressed it into using only that? And I'll tell you why. Because they were developing the game, they were possibly the first people Sony went to. So Sony, you know, comes from Japan, takes a flight over or uses Skype and says, right, Mr. Guerrilla Games, we want you to make a new Killzone for the PS4. And they're like, nice, so can you give us some specifications? We'll make it on our PCs and, you know, we'll see what we can do. And they're like, right then, so we want this. And they're like, wow, that's pretty good specs. Here we go, let's start making it. My only guess is that the dev kits that were first given out had maybe 2 gigs of RAM. And at the time, thinking it was probably just after the PS3, that was quite a lot of RAM. 2 gigs was pretty good at that. You could run anything with 2 gig. Then it came 4 gig, now it's about 8 gig. Minimum. Not minimum, but 8 gigs is a sweet spot right now. You could get away with 4, but 8 is probably what I need now for making videos. So they go away and they start making their game, and then Sony's like, oh no, wait, we're changing this, and they're like, well, we've already made this, but go on then, let's change the back end, beef it up a little bit more, and they're like, right, so now we can use 1.5 for the video, because there's that there now, and we're like, right, cool, we're done. We've got the back end done again, and we will now get back to making the beautiful graphics and such, and making the game fun and actually have a very good story. So they do that, and they're doing their game, and then Sony's like, oh no, we're changing specs again, and like, Sony, you seem to be changing the specs a lot, but that's what dev kits are for. Not for, but the dev kits in this scenario are made. They give them out, and they're like, right, do what you can with that, and they're like, right, we could ask for a bit more. Could you push it a bit more? Could you add this? Could you add that? Could you add this? And then Sony's like, yep. So every time, instead of remaking the game from behind again, they have basically just kept it as it is. There is no need to upgrade the game from 30 FPS to 60 FPS. What advantages will it bring? It is a rock solid 30 FPS. Honestly, there is not a massive difference to the human eye between 30 and 60. I can understand if you're using a mouse, you know, you've got a lot more control, you can move things a lot faster, but having 30 FPS on a console game is acceptable, very acceptable. Using a controller, a racing game, not as much. Obviously, it needs to be 60 FPS in my view, and that I pretty much highly believe that the new Drive Club game is 60 FPS. The reason, because race games, they know race games need to be 60 FPS. I mean, if you don't know that, you need to be beaten with a stick with cookie dough on it. I don't know, but anyway, getting into it again, there is no point in changing all the controller latency and such and making the controls more smoother because it's 60 FPS. And there's no point in doing all that again just because they can. They don't need to make the best looking game. They'll do what they did with Killzone. You know, Killzone 2 was basically step 1 of their plan. Then Killzone 3 came out. Boom! It looked absolutely insane. Like, you know, Killzone 3 looks a lot better than Killzone 2. Killzone 3, in my view, is the best looking first person shooter. Crysis obviously beats it on PC, but it's not fun, so it doesn't count. I don't find Crysis fun in any way. The original was okay, but number 2 and 3, corridor. You know, we have to wait and see. This is step 1. I reckon all the games there were made on early dev kits. It makes sense. You know, maybe some of them have actually gone, yeah, you know what, Sony, we're going to start over with this new hardware that you've given us. And they're like, okay, so you will see a lot of a couple of games come out later. And remember, Sony has quite a few first-party studios, and all of them are working on PS4 games. I'll link that in the description as well. So, we're going to see a very, very good launch lineup. I mean, we're going to get all the best third-party games. So around that time, we're going to have, hopefully, GTA, Need for Speed, Watch Dogs, you know, all those. And then we're also going to have possibly 6 first-party games on launch, and then a few more later through the next few months. So Sony's got it covered. And, you know, there's no point in them delaying what they, you know, some developers won't see a point in delaying a game just to increase the FPS from 30 to 60 and have to put all that effort in just to increase the FPS. There's no point in it. You're probably thinking, oh, they can just quickly just up the FPS like that. Whatever. But no, they're going to have to re-optimize it for that FPS. You know, they're going to have to re-optimize it for, obviously, the hardware. The hardware is going to be slightly different, but as far as we're aware, the architecture in the PS4 is pretty much the same as it was in the dev kit. Otherwise, what would be the point? And it would really mess developers' heads up. But you get the idea. There's no point in starting over when you've already got the game pretty much done. The game's not finished, but the back end is done. We can still improve graphically now, yes, but I mean, how can you improve a game graphically that looks that good? That looks amazing. And I can't wait to see Battlefield 4. I don't know why, but Battlefield 3, to me, I played it on PC as well. It doesn't look that great. I think Killzone looks better. I don't know. It's just me. I'm just weird. But anywho, let me know your thoughts on this. Are you getting Killzone? Are you getting a PS4 and all that good stuff? And I will see you in the next video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see y'all in a bit. Peace. One thing I forgot to add was that the PS4 has an 8-core CPU. It doesn't have an 8-core CPU. It has 4 dual-core CPUs, which is quite good. It makes for easier switching between tasks and multitasking sort of thing. So that's usually what you see in server machines rather than desktop PCs. Desktop PCs don't usually have single-core processors and such. Anyway, the point is that if you went on a PC game, even Far Cry, I'm going to use Far Cry 3 as an example because that game was beautiful and it used the CPU more than it did the GPU. And that's what consoles have really been about recently. CPU over GPU. And you have to remember that, let's say, I tried Far Cry 3 on an 8350, so the AMD 8-core FX pile driver. And it doesn't even use four of the cores, really, for the game, okay? And the percentage for the game only was 30% usage. 30% usage. And we have an 8-core CPU in the PS4 that's going to be more powerful, or just as powerful as the pile driver. So let that sink into your head and think, and I'm actually going now, so hopefully I've informed thou, and I will see you in the very near future. Make sure to subscribe. Peace.